Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Tuesday. I'm Allison Gillum and I am the West Michigan Community Relations Leader for Gifted Life. And it looks like I've been joined by Becky. No? Oh. You'll have to bear with us, everyone. We were having a few technical difficulties getting everybody logged on for our little program today, but it looks like we should all be good to go here. So again, I'm Allison Gillum, the West Michigan Community Relations Coordinator for Gift of Life Michigan, and I am based in the Grand Rapids area. And as you can see today, I am joined by a few of my friends from West Michigan, and we are here to talk about a really fun virtual event that we have coming up called Donate Life Day at the Zoo. And we're also, after we talk about that, we'll focus a little bit on the state of donation and transplantation in West Michigan and get some updates and insight from our transplant center partners here in the West Michigan area. So before we get rolling, I would love to have each of you just introduce yourselves and maybe tell everybody what your connection is to donation. Well, let's start with Scott.
Hi, my name is Scott Campbell. I was a heart recipient in December 15th of 2015, and I've been a volunteer with Gift of Life for about 4 years. Enjoy my time with speaking to high school and college age kids and working with Allison.
We sure appreciate everything you do to advocate for organ and tissue donation over here on this side of the state. Thank you. And how about you, Beth?
Yeah, I'm a social worker with Mercy Health St. Mary's Kidney Transplant, and I work with recipients and living donors, working to ensure their psychosocial stability and helping set people up for a successful outcome.
Very important job. Thank you for all you do. All right, and we were also previously joined by Becky. She is one of the transplant center managers at Spectrum Health, and hopefully keep our fingers crossed that she'll be able to be looped back in here shortly and we can talk to her. And oh, looks like there she is. Becky, if you can see us and hear us, we're pretty much up to you to introduce yourself if you want to go ahead. I'm guessing Becky can't hear us. Nope. All right, we'll move forward. Sorry. This is the age we live in now, right, guys? Just technical difficulties and the world of virtual meetings and doing everything virtually. So, okay, let's start out by talking about Donate Life Day at the Zoo. I want to give people a preview of what they can expect. Maybe, there are people who attended our in-person event last year at John Ball Zoo. And, we had hoped to do it in person again this year at the zoo, but as luck would have it, that's not going to be a possibility this year. So what we have done at Gift of Life, and we have a wonderful committee that works on this event. Scott's actually on our committee, and we do have representatives from Mercy Health, St. Mary's, and Spectrum on this committee that really have come together to plan a fun virtual experience for everybody this year. And the neat thing is that you don't have to be from West Michigan to be a part of this event. It is open to everyone. And we'll be sure to put the links up so you can see how to register. If you're interested in attending, you can still sign up for this event basically until the morning of the event. We're really encouraging everybody to join us. So you can probably see that link there at the bottom of the screen. So feel free to head over to the website and check that out. The event takes place Saturday, August 29th from 11 to 2. And as I said, it's all virtual. So basically, everything, all these experiences you're going to get to have will be housed within our event website. So one of the things that I'm really excited that we're going to do this year, since this event is typically at the zoo, we wanted to bring the zoo to you as much as possible. And we're going to have some fun virtual safaris that are just for our event guests. So we get to go behind the scenes with John Ball Zoo educator and do like a tiger training, see the ambassador animals, And I think that's going to be really fun, a fun experience for people to go on. And we're going to take the Celebration of Life Trail virtual this year. Last year we had a beautiful trail set up with signs honoring organ and tissue donors, recipients, and we'll be doing the same thing this year, but we're taking it online. So if you are happening to catch Let's Talk Tuesday today and you've signed up for the event and you haven't submitted information for a sign yet, please do. You still have a full week to get that information in, and you can do that by going to the event website. So that's a great way for us to honor the heroes and legends that we're going to find along the Celebration of Life Trail. And then lastly, one of the fun things I wanted to point out, and then I'll get to you, Scott and Beth, is we're having a really cool thing called the Wildlife Challenge. And this is where you can basically test your knowledge of both animals and organ donation. Seems like a natural fit, right? We'll make it work. I promise it will be fun. It's a live interactive challenge that you can do when you log on to the event website. And we have some really great prizes up for grabs. A bear encounter that you get to go into the zoo and help with the bear feeding before the zoo opens and go like behind the scenes with their keepers, and then some different prize packages for the zoo and gift cards for the zoo. So definitely check that out. There's some great things that you could win. So I want to start with you, Scott, since
Sure.
you are on the committee for this event and you had the chance to actually be involved so closely in the planning last year for the in-person event. And I know both of you attended last year, but what's kind of been different for you this year as we plan the virtual event, and what kind of things are you looking forward to this year?
Well, I'm really looking forward to the virtual animal encounters. That has a really different thing than we couldn't have last year because we just had admission to the zoo. So this will give people that behind the scenes look that we weren't able to do last year. Hopefully we'll have the same amount of attendance. We had a great attendance last year, and we would love to have everyone sign up and be ready to take on that adventure, take on the donor walk, being virtual. I still think it'll be great to see all the pictures of the donors and hopefully hear a little bit about their stories. So I think those things are just an awesome opportunity that we probably wouldn't have had with an in-person event. So I think there's some things that make it a little different as a challenge, as we know, but I think we also make sure that we have a different look to it and a great possibility to make it even more fun.
I agree. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, anytime we can get together and celebrate all of the awesome people in West Michigan that make up this great donation and transplantation community we have, it's a win, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Beth, as I said, I know you were at the event last year too.
Yeah.
Things are a little different this year.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to?
Well, I really enjoyed last year's Celebration of Life Trail, and that's still what I am looking forward to this year as well. I think it's so important for families to share their story, whether they're a recipient or a living donor or a deceased donor family. These pictures and stories are so impactful and they're so powerful and can really just make a big difference of raising awareness and kind of also normalizing what transplant's all about and celebrating these people's lives. So I look forward to all the pictures and reading all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's going to come together really nicely. And like you said, that's always so powerful to see like these real life examples of how donation affects people in different ways. And one of the things too that I was thinking about that I didn't quite mention when I went through the rundown is we've been working pretty hard on putting a really nice program together for this that will be part of the event website. And that's going to be another awesome opportunity to hear from donor families and transplant recipients, and then both of the transplant centers here from West Michigan. So I think that's definitely going to be something that people want to check out because I think it's pretty powerful. Some of the stories that are being shared for that, going to be shared for that. So why do you think it's important for you guys to be involved with Donate Life Day at the Zoo? Example, Scott, for you, personally on a personal level. Beth, why is it important for Mercy Health St. Mary's to get involved with this type of initiative? And we can start with Scott.
For me, it's just been just a way of giving back. It's such an amazing, amazing gift that some family and individual have given up their organs or their tissue or corneas for the opportunity of someone to live a second life, basically. And if I can give back in any way, shape, or form, like I said in my intro, that I speak to a lot of students throughout the years, and with Allison, and try to go on different little school tours and things like that. And I think just meeting and greeting and talking to donor families is a huge thing. So I just wish everyone to have the opportunity that received an organ or tissue could meet with the families, because I think it would be it's heart-wrenching, but it's also a really good feeling. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
How about you, Beth?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a great way for us to acknowledge and thank our community for the selfless acts of organ donation. It also allows us to help increase awareness about transplant for people who need transplants, or people who feel compelled to be a living donor, or to support donor families and validate their experience as well. You know, I think last year I got to meet so many families who you just see them channeling their journeys, whether it's loss or just a long road to a transplant, into advocacy or sharing their story and helping register donors, or just grieving with others while they're grieving. And I just think it's a really amazing how these people can come together with this common thing that they have going on that isn't something anybody really probably asked for in the first place. So
right. Yeah, we have just a really wonderful community here of people, and I'm so happy that we do have a way that we can come together and support each other. So I love that about this event. So what I want to do now is maybe, since we have you, Beth, I want to switch up and maybe talk a little bit about your transplant center, first and foremost. If you want to tell us a little bit more about Mercy Health St. Mary's, because, you know, I'm from West Michigan. We're all from West Michigan. We're a little biased, but I feel like we have some really great gems here in the area that people might not be aware of. So tell us a little bit more about what you guys do there.
Well, I think ultimately, just getting the word out that we're here in West Michigan in this community doing the only adult kidney transplant program over here. And we also offer a living donor program, and which can be achieved through directed donation, anonymous donation, and chains. You know, we've done over 2,600 transplants since 1973. So we are well established here, and just want to be sure people know that this can happen right here in our own community. We do about 80 to 100 transplants per year. I was saying we do about 80 to 100 transplants per year, and we're on target for that still. We've done about 45 so far this year, despite COVID and kind of how that impacted things for a time. And we have just under 300 people on the waiting list here in West Michigan. So there is a strong need in this community alone for kidney transplant.
Absolutely. I think people might be surprised to learn that the number is that high just for a kidney here in West Michigan. So that really goes to show. And certainly if you are in the West Michigan area, or you're an adult thinking about getting a kidney transplant, that's this excellent program. And just a note on living donation, Beth, if we get questions about that a lot, and it's of course an amazing way to help people, because as some people may or may not know, about 80% of people on the waiting list for a transplant are waiting for kidneys. So any way we can get to increase the number of kidney donors out there, and since we have the ability to do living donation, if people are interested in learning more about that, should they just go to your website? Or
our website definitely has a lot of good information and some forms on there. So it's mercyhealthkidneytransplant.com. Okay. And also I can give a phone number for our living donor referral line. Would it be? Yeah. Okay. It's 616-685-6899. So, you know, check out the website. If you if you're comfortable with that and learn more about it and then call with questions, or if you're just more comfortable calling first, we're happy to take those calls and you'll get a call back if we don't answer. So yeah, we look forward to it. Getting to know
Super.
people.
Thank you. And okay, let's try this again. It looks like we have Becky with us, and I think maybe she can hear us. Can you hear us, Becky? Yay!
Yes, I can. Sorry about
Awesome.
that.
And we can hear you. Yay. Sorry about the little struggle to get that going there, but we're so happy you could join us now. And just in time, actually, we were kind of switching gears a little bit to talk about the great work that our local transplant centers here in West Michigan are doing. So Becky, now that we have you, if you could just take a moment to introduce yourself and maybe explain what your role is there at Spectrum, and then talk about maybe a couple things. Why you guys are involved with the Donate Life Day at the Zoo event. And then if you could maybe talk about the services that you offer to the community.
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Becky, and I am the manager of the Heart and Lung Transplant Program for the adult world at Spectrum Health. In addition to that, I manage pediatric kidney and living donation. We have been doing kidney transplant for about 15 years at Spectrum Health, heart transplant for about 10, and lung transplant for about 7. We are a growing program. We are very humbled and honored to be able to offer these services to our community in West Michigan. I am very excited to be part of this and that this event is happening. Having done donation in the past and being able to see things come full circle, it has been a tremendous experience for me. I believe it's so important to be able to honor our donor families through the second chance of life. And this really is that opportunity to do that and to celebrate the gift that they gave so graciously.
Definitely. Definitely. And is there anything special you want us to know about your transplant programs, the work that you guys are doing here in West Michigan?
Sure. So we have been working, like I said, for 15 years with our kidney transplant program. We're always looking for ways to improve our access to donor organs through different opportunities. We recently were invited to be involved in a pivotal trial, which is ex vivo lung perfusion. We're working on getting a paired kidney exchange program up for our pediatric program, really trying to find ways to get our recipients to transplant in a more timely fashion and really expand the donor pool.
Sounds like lots of great work going on from both of you guys there. And then Scott is a product of your transplant program there at Spectrum Health. So
I am, and Becky was my transplant coordinator when she was in that role. So she played a very pivotal part in getting me my heart.
yeah, that's awesome. I love it. It's such a small world, but yet not. You know what I mean? So so glad we can all come together. And I think sometimes I still feel like when I talk to people, they're surprised to learn that you can get a heart and lung transplant in West Michigan. So we're lucky to have both of your programs here in this area. So we did actually get a pretty good question that I want to address. We were earlier, when we started out talking today, we talked about one of the elements of the virtual event is the Celebration of Life Trail, which honors deceased donors, living donors, transplant recipients, transplant candidates. And somebody was wondering if you have to be from West Michigan to be a part of that. And the answer is no. Everybody, in general, everybody's welcome to attend this event, and everybody with some sort of connection is welcome to submit information for a sign. We are happy to honor everybody that has some sort of connection and wondering about being a part of this event. So I think I saw maybe one of the questions pop up, but I didn't get a chance to see if that was the one that I just addressed. I think so. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm sure they'll let me know if I need to address another question. So
there
sorry.
was a question, Allison, that said,
Okay.
What services are totally offered between the two clinics?
Okay,
I
so
mean, we addressed it briefly, but if there's additional services.
I see. Yeah, so we talked about how we've got the adult kidney transplant program at Mercy Health St. Mary's, and that's strictly kidney transplants. And you also have your living donor program there. So if people are interested in learning more about living donation. And then at Spectrum, we've got adult heart and lung transplants, as well as pediatric kidney transplants. Am I right?
Correct. And we actually also have an LVAD program, which is a heart pump that can bridge patients to heart transplantation.
Thank you. Yes. Great. Hopefully that answers that question, but feel free to ask any follow-ups if I didn't quite, that wasn't quite the response.
That includes pre and post operative care. Might I add. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. For both. Yes. So, okay, here's the common topic that we're hearing these days, and I get a lot of questions from people, is everybody wants to know, in this world that we're living in, with COVID-19, as we all know, when this first hit and Michigan started shutting down, other places started shutting down. I think the number of donations went down, the number of donors that we were seeing went down. Maybe talk about how that affected you guys in the transplant centers with doing transplants. And then let's talk about maybe like where we are now with everything. How about Beth? You want to go first?
Sure. So, when this all started back in March, we did take a little pause with our living donor program, and we did postpone some surgeries that have since been scheduled and completed. So we're pleased with that. And then we never did stop accepting deceased donor offers. We just were very selective with how we chose those. But honestly, since the end of April, we have done 19 deceased donor transplants and 12 living donor surgeries. So we feel like we're back on track, and we really didn't, we maybe skipped one beat, but otherwise I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, despite everything. So
yeah, now we're just playing catch up, with all the referrals and new evaluations. But as far as surgeries and transplanting actually goes, we feel confident that we're just on a normal track that we've been on the previous years.
Great to know. How about you guys over at Spectrum Health?
Yeah, I will echo what Beth said. I think we took a small pause to be able to prepare. We had to implement a robust screening process for our recipients. We brought testing in-house, so we had the ability to test our recipients going into transplant. I would say our volumes are completely back to normal. We are transplanting at the same rate that we were transplanting pre-COVID. Spectrum Health remains committed and prepared if we have to redeploy our efforts if there's a change in the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know and hear it firsthand from you guys, because for a while there, you'd see people saying different things, or like no transplants are happening at all, or just not sure quite where that was all coming from. So it's always good to just hear exactly from you, like what the state is of that today. And because we were affected probably a little bit differently here in West Michigan too than Southeast Michigan, and because as everybody knows, they really got hit pretty hard over there. So glad to know though that things are back on track. And do you guys foresee like any reason it won't stay that way? I mean, I know there's a lot of unknowns with COVID, but are you prepping for like a bad fall or anything like that? Or
I mean, I think we're constantly watching the trends in regards to transplant. I don't think that anything's going to change since we were able to implement testing of our recipients, and we have testing on the donor side. So I think our volumes will remain constant, and we're watching, obviously, our system in terms of bed availability if things do change.
Awesome.
I'd say it's the same for us as well. And we've, been able to establish video visits for our post-clinic patients that we feel that we can do that, people that we're comfortable doing that with. We've also figured out doing remote education and evaluations if we need to go back to that, if there's a surge, but hopefully we can continue to do in person. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed for things to just keep improving from here, right? Yes. Well, I want to leave on a note today, maybe just to give each of you an opportunity to talk about what is the best thing about being part of the donation and transplantation community here in West Michigan. And maybe let's start with Scott.
Well, I think my role as a representative or a volunteer for Gift of Life Michigan is just the opportunity to kind of participate in a group that has become very tight in West Michigan. We enjoy each other's company, and we kind of can talk and relate to a lot of different subjects together in far as support groups and online support chats and those kind of things. And I think just events like this zoo event, even though it may be virtual this year, those types of things make it a wonderful gathering point for us to get together. And just for me to get people to sign up and register as much as humanly possible, because you never know how you can impact someone else's life. So that's what I have to say, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. Becky.
So I have said this before, but I feel honored to be able to help carry out the mission of donation through the Second Chance at Life. I feel like, as Scott indicated, just having building relationships with our recipients and being able to watch them live their life has been very rewarding for me. And I think I can say this for the Spectrum Health team and probably anyone that does this work, is that we really believe in the mission of saving lives.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Beth?
Yeah, I just think it's so great to work so closely with community partners like Gift of Life and Renal Associates of West Michigan and West Michigan Surgical, and just to support patients and families and through community events and trying to just increase awareness and access to transplant and debunking myths about kidney transplant and living donation, and just overall trying to reduce health disparities. And I think the other thing that's just kind of a side note that is just really cool about our living donor program is we're not doing this alone. And just over a 12-month period, a year ago or so, we had 5 anonymous donors give a kidney to someone in West Michigan. So, we're not doing this alone as the professional side of things. We just have this great, amazing giving community that we're a part of. And it's so evident just by that example alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great example. Absolutely. I totally agree. And, you mentioned just the different support systems that we have here. And that's one of the other things that we're going to be outlining with this event too. Part of our event includes a little section we like to call Community Cove. And that's going to be outlining all sorts of resources and organizations that support the West Michigan donation and transplantation community. So if people do attend our virtual event on August 29th, be sure to check that out too. There's lots of great ways to learn about how you can get connected with people, not just here in West Michigan, but throughout the state, which is, I think, it's always important, but boy, I think especially now people are really looking for ways to stay connected with others. So very good. And I, of course, have to end by reminding everybody how you can sign up for this event if you didn't catch us saying that in the beginning. So again, it is open to anybody. You don't need to be from West Michigan to register to attend this event. We are celebrating the awesome donation and transplantation community in West Michigan, but you are more than welcome to help us in doing that, even if you aren't from this area. So you do need to register for the event though. And you can do that by visiting golm.org/zoo. And if you do sign up for the event and you're interested in having a sign to either honor yourself or a loved one on the Celebration of Life Trail, you'll find all the information to register for that there too. All right, good stuff. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be here before you know it. So thank you again to Becky and Beth for joining us and sharing your perspective from the Transplant Center side of things. And we really appreciate all the great work that you're doing for patients here in West Michigan. And thank you, Scott Campbell, for sharing your thoughts on the event and for all the time that you have spent putting this event together over the last few years and joining us on this journey as we make it virtual this year and seeing how it goes. Thanks, everyone. We hope to see you on August 29th. Take care.